The concept of a mascot is ingrained in modern culture. They've grown from modest attempts of early marketing to semi-sentient beings who run their own Twitter accounts and say vaguely mean things to other mascots at 2 a.m. The mascot is made to build trust and emotional attachment with audiences, I would assume. And although it might seem like a stupid and tough job, they are paid an unbelievable amount of money to do it. The highest paid mascots for pro sports make over $600,000 a year. Newsflash, bucko, that's a life-changing amount of money. Now, it doesn't even touch how much an actual player makes annually, but you know, obviously these organizations have money to throw around, either be a star athlete or a guy in an eagle outfit. But today we're taking a trip into the oversized heads of mascots. Because frankly, I think we're all a little too comfortable with this concept as a whole. Because like, why is this child taking a photo with the Seattle Kraken mascot? You know, like, first of all, that mascot makes no sense, and also that's just a dude in a costume. Why are we engaging with this? You know, because this whole thing's weird, and I just want to talk about it. Fuck you. I don't have to tell you why I'm making a video. I run the ship, and I have the keys to the jet ski, and we're going right into a dam. Today, as a unit, we're used to the wild-eyed, mischievous mascots with vague animal connotations, but the very first mascot to ever exist was way less thought out. No, in its humble origins, the very first mascot to ever exist was, let me check my notes, a white guy. An old white man. Well, I don't think any of us were expecting that. The Quaker Oats Company created the Quaker Man in 1877, in what I can only assume was an attempt to create a mascot as boring as their product. However, the Quaker Man was a cutting-edge invention, seeing as his existence predates the term mascot. He was in the game before the game had a name. Kind of like when you guys called me Rat Boy a bunch, and then they released that article saying that girls thought rat boys were hot. That's your bed, and I'm sleeping in it. The word mascot entered the American zeitgeist in 1880 by way of French opera called La Mascotte. I assume that's how you pronounce it. I refuse to learn French. Originally Mascotte, or whatever how you fucking say it, meant like Lucky Charm, when it was used in gambling slang, which itself is derived from another French slang term, masco, meaning witch. God damn it, I just learned French. And calling mascots witches is pretty fitting if you've ever seen the Providence College mascot.
What the hell is even that?
Well, I don't know what that's supposed to be, and I will not believe anything else besides a child-eating witch. Initially, Americans used the term mascotte, well, we're just gonna say mascot now, in the same way the French did. It was a good luck charm. Several newspapers in 1880 described young baseball fans and bat boys as mascots. And honestly, they were pretty loose with the word. They were getting weird with it. An 1884 article in the Cincinnati Enquirer even claimed that a goat who wandered into a baseball diamond was the team's mascot. So the bar is pretty low there, I would say. Like, you're a farmer who slept in because he drank too much the night before, and suddenly your livestock is a fucking baseball team mascot. Like, it seems like they're grabbing at straws. What is the Cincinnati team's name? Does Cincinnati even have a baseball team? Oh yeah, the Reds, right. Why are they called the Reds? Because they used to wear Red Sox. Oh my god, is that what the Red Sox are called, the Red Sox? Jesus Christ, people were so uncreative. The late 19th and early 20th century, mascots remained the domain of animals and children. Until 1944, when Joe DiMaggio hit a home run during an exhibition baseball game in Hawaii. By the way, a decade and a change before it became a state. A pitcher, a Navy sailor named Max Pitkin, threw down his glove and followed DiMaggio as he rounded the bases, seemingly mocking him, and the fans went wild. I guess the Hawaiians in the mid-20th century enjoyed this type of mockery. Well, Max Pitkin knew a good thing when he saw one, and he became the first adult human mascot, just fully jumped ship into a new career path. During the course of his 5-decade career, he traveled across the country to perform his antics during minor league baseball games, just doing cartwheels and being a fucking asshole to the applause of thousands. All told, he made over 4,000 appearances, and I think there's a good lesson there. If you don't want to go to work anymore, just show up someplace and be an asshole. Someone will eventually hand you some money.
Hey, you ever notice how people are sucking on things lately? You ever see that? At the bar, on the train, in the office, it's really a plague. It's usually just to beat boredom, or to do something with your hands while you're dealing with anxiety, like biting your fingernails. But what if I told you there was a cool product that helped you satiate the oral fixation and the flavor centers of your big cool brain? Today we're talking about Fume, baby! Delicious. Fume has created an award-winning flavored air device. But Tucker, I already got something like that, and it's super not healthy for me. Well, yeah, that's why I'm talking about Fume, you dummy, you big doofus. The design is sleek and weighted, so it can be used as a fidget toy when you're bored at work. They've got all these cool flavors like simple crisp mint, as well as more crazy ones like orange vanilla or bold black licorice. All of which taste great and do exactly what you would assume of them. No surprises in this cowboy's mouth. Fume has served over 300,000 customers, and you could be their next success story. For a limited time, use code BIGTUGG to get a free topper. It's the perfect accessory to the Fume device. You slip it on the top and it's like a little chewy and you can kind of nibble on it. I nibble on a lot of things. Just gives it a softer, warmer feel if you're also not into chewing things. Head to tryfume.com. That's TRYFUM.com and use code BIGTUGG or scan the QR code on the screen to get your free Fume topper whenever you order the Journey Pack today. Also, this part isn't in the script, but when you twist it, it makes this noise. And it's super satisfying.
So fast forward a few decades, and baseball is still popular despite it being baseball. In 1963, the cover of New York Mets game program featured an illustration of a baseball player with a gigantic baseball head. For goofs, I suppose? And they called him Mr. Met. You know a good way to drum up business is to create a living nightmare and put it on a piece of paper, right? And then in 1964, they just went hog wild and clamped down on the concept of this thing being the full team mascot. And let me tell you, Mr. Met changed the game because it was the first fully human costumed mascot. Not this Max Pitkin shit where he's running around. We got an abomination of God in front of us. And then just a few years later, Mrs. Met would come along and shatter the mascot glass ceiling by having boobs. And also by introducing the concept of Mrs. Met, it also created the canon lore that these two things fuck. They have wet, sloppy, leather glove sex. Jesus Christ. So even though Mr. Met set a new precedent for sports mascots, the San Diego Chicken made mascots what they are today. This is how I'm spending my life. Originally, the San Diego Chicken was just a college kid in a chicken suit doing week-long promotions for a local radio station in 1974, which is hilarious to me because radio stations are historically not a visual medium. I don't know what he was doing there. But since the Chicken Man was a big fan of the San Diego Padres, he hatched an idea to get free tickets to the games. He walked up to the baseball stadium and said, "Give me free tickets and I will walk around entertaining your fans by acting like a chicken, I guess. I don't know." And it worked. They let him in. And what did I say about being an asshole? It's monetarily beneficial. As the San Diego Chicken, he would wander the stands, and if someone said, "Lay one on me," he would lay a fake egg full of prizes from his leggings. I imagine that this was a wet activity. The first thing you'll notice about the San Diego Chicken, that he is yellow, orange, and blue. Nothing in nature looks like that. But between the time of Mr. Met and the San Diego Chicken, people in America started doing acid. So we were in a new ballpark of creativity. And that psychedelic mentality was on full display with the advent of the Philly Fanatic. In the mid-70s, a Jim Henson employee was tasked with creating a new mascot for the Phillies. And now that I know that the Phillies Fanatic was a Jim Henson's creature, a lot of shit makes more sense. Honestly, I can't believe I never noticed that the Philly Fanatic was a Muppet. I mean, it's got all the telltale signs. Fuzzy features, googly eyes, and a weird fucking gimmick on its face. That's all. The Jim Henson's written all over it. The Fanatic was officially introduced in 1978 to the rapturous applause of everyone within miles of the Broken Bell. This green flightless bird has become somewhat of an icon of the area of Philadelphia, probably because the people who live in Philly can relate to this thing. You know? Have you ever met someone from Philly? They look like they would throw bricks, and so does this thing. And once the Philly Fanatic was out of its cage, all hell broke loose in the world of mascots. Today it's weirder if your mascot even actually makes sense. And then there's the theme park mascots, like Mickey Mouse or Bugs Bunny at Six Flags for some fucking reason. I don't know why he's there. And there's not a lot I want to talk about with these. They're pretty, there's a reason they're there. It's not just people making shit up. But I just wanted to take a gander at the original Mickey Mouse costumes, like the ones at the park. Editor, can you throw up a picture of that? Horrific. No analog horror YouTube channel could even touch the feeling that looking at these images gives me. But it's not just theme parks dropping somewhat threatening vibes throughout the use of mascots. When it comes to iconic costumed characters, there's a weird amount that comes from public service announcements. Study shows that marketing companies are 37% more effective when they use costumed characters, so it makes sense that the government would use this golden opportunity to use for propaganda. Haha, look at the silly bear, don't be a commie. Smokey the Bear came about in 1944 thanks to World War II. During the war, most US forces were off fighting the Nazis, so they weren't, fixing up wildfires. And in order to prevent the fires that we were ill-equipped to fight, Smokey the Bear was born. Wait, no, it's Smokey Bear? It's not Smokey the Bear? The fuck? That cannot be correct. Holy shit, it is. I always thought it was Smokey the Bear. It's just Smokey Bear. Did I just get Mandela effect in real time? Well, despite that fucked up realization, he wasn't that effective because the Earth is burning at an alarming rate. But despite the lackluster results, the Ad Council claims that 95% of adults and 77% of children recognize Smokey Bear and his messaging. That still sounds wrong. And taking direct inspiration from Smokey, the Ad Council introduced McGruff the Crime Hound in 1980. In 1979, there were 549.5 crimes per 100,000 people. So naturally, it was decided that what America needed to combat crime was a talking dog detective. McGruff was inspired by the hard-boiled detectives and novels by Raymond Chandler and Dashiell Hammett. In PSAs, he sulked around alleys and behind homes, giving tips on public safety. He's a cool dog. And to my extreme shock, these ads actually worked. They worked shockingly well. A year after McGruff debuted, research showed an increase in the use of his security tips. And while I do respect the attempt of authorities to entice me with the use of a bloodhound in a trench coat, these silly antics won't change the omnipresent fact that Big Tugg and the Tugglets don't talk to cops. Oink oink piggy. Fast food restaurants also have a long history of using iconic characters as mascots, none more famous than the Burger Clown. This cheeseburger flinging clown was first introduced in 1963, looking less like the mascot we know today, and more like one of those four horsemen of the apocalypse the Bible's always talking about. And in the ensuing decades, Ronald McDonald has not only become the most popular fast food mascot, but like one of the most popular things on earth. Survey shows he's only second to Santa Claus and the most, widely known characters across this earth. Editor, roll the clip of a child not knowing who Jesus is, but knowing who Ronald McDonald is. Go, play it.
Who's that?
Oh no.
Who's that?
McDonald. Ronald McDonald.
Wow. What a horrible hell we live in. Despite dietitians asking for McDonald's to retire Ronald due to childhood obesity and a string of creepy clown sightings that spread across America in 2016, Ronald McDonald remains one of the all-time most iconic mascots. Although they do use him in less and less promotional materials nowadays, I just don't really understand how a clown is supposed to make me hungry for hamburgers. Clowns make me hungry for nothing. Clowns make me want to puke, so I don't know how that was ever a good idea. Or how about cereal mascots? We haven't touched on those yet. Cereal is consistently the second most advertised product to children aged 2 to 11, trailing only fast food. What? Tucker rehashing old videos to make more videos and more profit? What? Of course, children aren't getting, objective breakdowns of the benefits of eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Instead, they're inundated by flashy ads featuring colorful mascots. Take the 1963 creation of Captain Crunch. His full name, and I'm not joking, is Horatio Magellan Crunch. I don't know who decided this guy needed lore, but I'm not complaining. He was born on Crunch Island in the Sea of Milk, a place with talking trees and Mount Crunchmore, a whole mountain made out of Captain Crunch cereal. So in the Captain Crunch universe, it's rocks. You're eating rocks when you eat a bowl of Captain Crunch. Just thought that was interesting. And to promote their new cereal and mascot, General Mills asked the animator of Rocky and Bullwinkle to create a show commercials for Captain Crunch. As a result, Captain Crunch became a wild success. Who knew ranked members of the military could sell sugary grains to children with haste? The Captain isn't the only cereal mascot with a long history. Snap, Crackle, and Pop were first introduced in the 30s. They were there to sell Rice Krispies, and to be honest, I don't know their vibe. I can't tell if they're supposed to be human or not. Are they elves? Are they gnomes? Are they related? Is it 3 brothers or a father and 2 sons? And then Tony the Tiger came along for Frosted Flakes in the 50s, and I talked about Tony the Tiger. He has a weird amount of sex appeal. You people are horny for him. I'm not, but it's just fucking weird. But cereal mascots are not just designed to reach kids through the commercials. This is where it gets weird. A Cornell University study found that they're placed on cereal boxes so that they make direct eye contact with children. Isn't that horrifying? The study also found that direct eye contact from mascots makes consumers 16% more likely to trust the brand. Once again, I don't want to touch on the topic of sex appeal, but Jesus Christ. And then the next category that is, it's just one mascot in his own category, and that's Joe Camel. And I love Joe Camel. I think he's a cool mascot. Yes, technically it was like kind of, a marketing cigarettes to children, which wasn't sick, but that's fucking cool. That's a cool dude. I don't even smoke cigarettes, but like I want a Joe Camel leather jacket. Fuck, that guy was cool. So in 2005, the Mascot Hall of Fame was created by a fella named David Raymond, the first man to play the Philly Fanatic. And I hate that. I hate that there's a Hall of Fame for mascots when there should be absolutely the opposite. Today, I'm going to unveil Big Tugg's Mascot Hall of Shame. And these are the mascots that I think deserve more hate and should be killed in their lore, not the people who play them, maybe. Up first, we have the Utah Jazz Bear, a shitty concept come to life. If there's one thing I think about when I think of jazz, it certainly isn't Utah. Utah is like if the town from Footloose became an entire state. Come to think of it, when I think of jazz, I don't think of a bear either. So what's going on with the Utah Jazz Bear? It's a logistic improbability and it makes no sense. And for what it's worth, jazz is a fine media of music, but it's never made me feel like this. Never made me feel this jazzed up. Oh, maybe that's why it is. And also, historically, there's very little black people in Utah. And I'm not saying you have to be black to enjoy a basketball team named the Utah Jazz, but I feel like there should be it seems like you're stealing another thing. Next up, we have Gritty, something I fundamentally don't agree with. First of all, what the fuck is a Gritty? Exactly. Tell me. He looks like a Sesame Street character that one of the Jim Henson employees made on he accidentally did it, and then a witch came to the event and it cursed the thing and it came to life. Also, Philadelphia, slow the fuck down. Who hurt you? Between Gritty, the Philly Fanatic, and Hip Hop, a muscle-bound rabbit in a do-rag who used to throw down slam dunks at halftime of 76er games, all your mascots are just vile slaps in the face of God. But the main problem I have with Gritty is the fact that he has been shoved down our throats since day one. I understand that most mascots are legitimately living PR stunts, but I should not be this familiar with the mascot of the Philly Flyer. I love the Bruins, the only sports team I give a fuck about. I don't know our mascot. I assume it's a bear. I think more people know about Gritty than the actual Philadelphia Flyers, which is the exact point I'm trying to make. It's a fucked up weird thing that's going on. And then we have all the goddamn racist mascots, and here come the woke police, but like, some of these are really fucked up. There's a limit how much fun you can have by using an entire race race for your mascot, like the Chicago Blackhawks, they do that respectfully. These ones, not at all. In 2024, we know that using an entire race of people as a mascot is not kosher. And while most high-profile sports teams have eradicated these long traditions of using people as mascots, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Atlanta Braves, and the Florida State Seminoles retain their offensive mascots and imagery, while their fans perform the offensive tomahawk chop at their games. Oh! That made me feel awful just doing it. Now, obviously, I'm not an American, which means my opinion on this is not even close. It doesn't even matter. If you're not an American, it doesn't matter what your opinion on this is. But that being said, it doesn't feel good to be around it. Have you ever been in one of those games and all the white people start doing this and they're wearing headdresses and shit? You want to not be photographed. Even more damning, there's about 2,000 American high schools that still use Native Americans as mascots. I mean, for fuck's sake, my alma mater, St. John's in Shrewsbury, uses their mascot's the Pioneer, and that's fine without context, but this is the picture of it. It's a dude with a fucking gun. And if you know anything about the pioneers and the Native Americans, that gun's gonna be used not for, you know, shooting a chicken. So all around, just not a good look. I don't know why the new Americans are so hell-bent on making Native Americans mascots. It's just, it makes me feel bad. And it wouldn't be a big Tugg video without talking about the Cold War. Here comes the Cold War, everybody. Haha, I can't stop. So you know the Cincinnati Reds? I talked about them earlier because of their stupid fucking name. Well, during the Red Scare, you know, when America was really afraid of communism, the Cincinnati Reds went through a little bit of a rebrand. They didn't want their baseball team to remind anyone of a potential nuclear fallout, so from 1953 to 1959, they changed their name to the Redlegs. This is once again a reference to the Red Sox that they wear, which once again there's a team already called the Red Sox, so why are you guys being so fucking stupid? But this switch eventually led to a new mascot called Mr. Red. Isn't that what you're trying to avoid? You fucked up so badly. You guys can't do anything right, Cincinnati. You have a terrible playing card company, you make terrible chili, and your mascots are fucking exactly the opposite of what you're trying to do. Moving down the list of the worst mascots, let's talk about the Noid. In 1986, Domino's Pizza introduced a claymation mascot called the Noid, and this is what he looked like, and you should be upset by that. He was a weird blend of a rabbit and a man and a pizza enthusiast, and none of those things have to do with Domino's Pizza. He was created to promote Domino's promise of delivering pizza within 30 minutes or less. And I know this seems weird, but what you have to understand is in the 80s, everyone was doing cocaine. Okay, so there was a lot of fast ideas coming at you. And this ad campaign was weirdly an immediate hit for everybody, except for one fella, a 22-year-old individual named Kenneth Lamar Noid. He was convinced in his not-so-good brain that the Domino's made that mascot specifically to intimidate him and make fun of him. And then in 1989, he took 2 Domino's employees hostage while he ate an entire pizza. He eventually, luckily released the 2 people after he finished his pizza, and Kenneth was found not guilty for the reason of insanity. And Domino's was like, that was crazy, but let's keep using the Noid, and they did until 1989, when Kenneth Noid, still convinced the Domino's mascot was designed to mock him, took his own life. I gotta talk about another mascot, because that's a super sad ending. Then we have Lefty, this guy, the guy on the Hamburger Helper, which I fucking hate this dude so much. Kids from the 80s and 90s are really gonna remember this thing as the terrifying mascot of Hamburger Helper. Introduced in 1977, Lefty is proof that there is a god, and he has left us. He's a 4-fingered gloved hand who wears the clown nose and haunts the kitchen of tired parents, encouraging them to shovel beef and prepackaged noodles into their kids' mouths for dinner. I personally actually like Hamburger Helper, even though it's a lot of sodium, but that's just because I'm a white piece of gutter trash, so opinions may vary. Regardless, Lefty is way less terrifying today as he was back when he started, but when I was doing research for this video, I found out he's also been recently dropping bars. He's been rapping super hot flames. In 2016, Lefty released a hip-hop mixtape called Watch the Stove.
I've been chefing, mix it with my left hand, water whipping and I'm stirring.
Which in my estimation is the furthest thing away from Hamburger Helper I could ever imagine. But it's also the true problem with the modern mascot. Through social media and branding, they have like blended themselves into normal human life, which is not what these things should be. As children, we were constantly bombarded by these colorful mascots and fun imagery to make us feel happy and safe, creating real relationships with these brands that fuel us with nostalgia. And now it's like, oh, the frog from the Honey Smacks is dating the Lucky Charms guy and they're gonna have a wedding on the Instagram Live. I don't want any of that. Also, why the fuck does the Hamburger Helper dude only have 4 fingers? I get that, like, people, when they do animations, they only do 4 fingers because it's easy, but this is supposed to be like the glove I use to make Hamburger Helper. It's supposed to be like the oven mitt. So whose glove is this supposed to be? It's a fucking stupid idea. So there you have it. Mascots. Most of them are terrible. All of them, almost. Thank you for watching. I hope I educated you, I guess, and I'd just like to scream into the void on this camera. New videos every Saturday and Wednesday. Thank you. Like, comment, and subscribe. Anything else? No, that's it. Gritty's gonna find out where I live. I just wrote that at the end of the script. And thank you to Fume for sponsoring today's video. Head to tryfume.com and use code BIGTUGG when you order the Journey Pack for a free topper today.